Hey, there are just such vast amounts of misinformation out there when it comes to golf balls and what the average person, average golfer, understands about golf ball performance. Now, of course, the golf ball industry doesn't help much either. I mean, after all, they've got to sell golf balls. So in this video, let's take a look at some of the most prominent myths about golf balls, their technology, their performance, which also means if you can just educate yourself a little bit on golf balls, it's a potential source of improvement and certainly an edge on all your opponents. So right after this, let's separate the truth from the untruth and the hype from the absolute utter bullshit as we take a look at some of the most prominent golf ball myths today. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I continue my journey to hit the ball longer and straighter than ever before. This means leaving no stone unturned, and that includes the choice of golf ball that I play. So let's get right into some of the popular myths about golf balls. So these are all conclusions that we can draw from the very recent MyGolfSpy.com's robot testing, where they tested over 30 golf balls for like 60 hours of testing. It was really grueling. And they came up with and clarified a lot of myths about golf balls. So one of the major shockers they came up with over there a couple of years ago in their first test was that soft is slow. And that is true. The softer the golf ball, or the lower the compression of the core, the slower the ball comes off the face. And this is pretty much at any speed. They found that the hardest golf balls, with the ones with the highest compression, actually came off the face faster at every speed. So the myth that you can fit your golf ball to your speed versus the compression of the ball, just absolute crap. Now, the recent testing has changed their opinion. It is now soft equals slow with an asterisk. And what the asterisk means, and the subject of me taking so many criticisms from golfers, is that softer, while it might be slower, sometimes it means it spins less off the driver. Therefore, some softer golf balls can keep up with the longest golf balls out there because they're spinning off the driver less. And so you get less spin in many cases, makes your driver go farther. So all the fans of the golf balls, like the Titleist AVX, who yelled at me, yeah, if you've got a really high spin rate normally off of your driver, you can pick up some good yardage with a ball like that because it's going to reduce your driver spin maybe 300-400 RPMs. That could be as much as 20 or 30 yards of extra distance compared to that other premium golf ball that you were hitting with too much spin. Now, another enormous myth that so many golfers believe is that golf balls more or less are just about the same. And this is not true either at all. They found at high speed still, this was consistent to the first testing, that there's over a 30-yard spread in distance, maybe even 35 yards in spread at high speed swings, 115 miles an hour, in distance between the longest and the shortest. Now, even at a more common speed of, let's say, 90 miles an hour, there's still something around a 15-yard spread between longest and shortest. And so is 15 yards something you're willing to give up? Well, it all plays a factor in what ball you're going to choose to play. Another huge difference in golf balls is how much spin they produce off of the irons and the wedges. So some golf balls that might look attractive because they hit the ball far may also have very, very little spin coming into the green. So any net distance you might have picked up, you're just going to lose it on score around the greens as you fail to get up and down with the wedge, the pitch, the bunker shot, and the chip, because your ball just won't stop. All right, so a third prominent myth that the MyGolfSpy.com guys completely dispelled, busted with their latest robot testing is that used or refurbished balls are pretty much just as good as new balls. Let's say you got some, they call them 5A Titleist Pro V1s off of Amazon.com, and they cost you half as much. You're like, hey, these are pristine. They look so shiny and they're slick right out of the package. Well, In fact, the testing busted them out of the water completely. Even the top refurbished golf ball, on average, will lose you about 20 or 25 yards and go much more crooked to boot. In other words, you'll have some funny flights in there as well, because all the little nicks and scratches and cuts, paint blemishes that are left even on the best of the refurbished balls have a lot more effect than you think. Now, if the best refurbished balls are losing this much, imagine that golf ball you just pick up from under the trees or you fish out of the pond that might have been in there for a year, and imagine how poor its performance is going to be, because that wouldn't even make the cut of the top one. All right, and the last, such a popular held myth about golf balls is that you've got to fit the compression of the golf ball to your swing speed. Now, this has been pushed on you by the golf industry over the last 7 years, and it's absolute utter crap. The biggest lie they're perpetrating on you. So let me give you an example. The ball that goes the farthest at high speed, which is, you guessed it, a very high compression, very firm feeling golf ball. It's the Titleist Pro V1X Left Dash. Now, this was easily the longest ball in the robot testing at high speed. So you're thinking, well, duh, Steve, of course, it's the highest compression. That's what the tour players should be playing with, right? What's interesting is that it was also the longest ball at the slowest speed they tested at 85 miles an hour driver speed. It was also the longest ball in the test of about 30 or 40 different ones that they tested. So I don't think that you should attempt to use compression in any way to match up the kind of golf ball that you're going to use. I just don't think you should allow it to factor into your decision. There are other factors that are just so much more important for the performance of the ball. All right, so for those of you who would love to jump into the deep end with the data, I've left a link to the article and the study and all the robot data that My Golf Spy did recently, and you can check it out. Like I said, it's a lot to digest, so you have to kind of dive in head first, but it'll be a big learning experience. I encourage you to do it. All right, so I hope this helps you narrow down your selection of golf balls that you're going to use to improve your game this coming season. I'm Steve with HitItLonger.com. Thanks so much for watching, and again, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.